Hello there, everyone. Patricia Hayes here. So excited to be with you for this week's Coffee Time Career Chat Networking Edition. If you are joining for the very first time, again, my name is Patricia Hayes. I am an executive advisor, empowerment coach, and authentic networking strategist. And what that means is I help professionals, executives, entrepreneurs who are ready to up level and make a significant transition in their career and their business. I help them to get the skills they need to solidify their confidence and to make sure that they are adequately, not adequately, but appropriately leveraging their professional relationships to help them get to the next level, but in a way that's purposeful and aligned with their values. So, I'm super excited to be here as always for one of my favorite things every week, which is coffee time. And we are continuing with this theme of exploring new connections and exploring new opportunities because we've been talking about it being harvest time. And that means that you're going back and you're taking a look at all of those opportunities, those people that you have been engaged with over the course of this year and picking out maybe where you left off on a few things so that you can strengthen it and incorporate it into your plans for the coming year. And so today's specific topic, we are talking about adding youth and wisdom to your network. I love this because it seems like it's so obvious, but it's not. And it ties in perfectly to the conversation that I've had before about diversifying your professional relationships and diversifying your network. There was a whole week-long workshop that I hosted on that topic back in June. If you are interested, let me know, and because that's going to be made available for purchase um, on the learnings platform, but I would love to share that more in depth with you. But meanwhile, you get a little taste of it here today because it's really important to acknowledge that sometimes we get stuck in a rut when it comes to our professional relationships. And we start sticking around just those people who are literally within our eyesight, earshot, all of those things. And so it means that things start to look homogenous. I don't care what your race, ethnicity, or whatever, you start looking homogenous in the way that you start having people who look and sound like you around you. So if you're a lawyer, maybe you're just limiting it to other lawyers. If you're an engineer, you start limiting it to just people who are engineers. If you're, whatever your profession, whatever your background, it means you start doing that. And when you do that, that starts to tighten your circle rather than expand it. And one of the key ways in which people tighten their circle without even realizing it is when it comes to looking at people and their age. And I can be talking about the numerical age, yes, of those who are younger and older than us. But what about if you give thought to those who are younger or older than us in experiences? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And that's actually kind of taking us straight into the first point, which is there is value in looking to those both younger and older than us, and it helps us to expand our view, which I just referenced a second ago, but not just in age, because there are definitely benefits to that, but also in experiences. And a lot of times we underestimate, unfortunately, still to this day, we underestimate those people who are younger than us, both in experiences and in numerical age. And that is unfortunate because with the extreme shifts in our society that have happened over the last 5-10 years. Hello, what about just the last 2 years, last 18 months? There is tremendous value in having significant relationships with people who are younger than us. I don't care what your age is, but who are younger than you, because there's so much that you can learn from them. whether it's regarding social media, how to engage with technology, even on some of the cutting edge topics from our areas of expertise. There's fresh insight and new input. And even the questions that someone younger may ask will help to refresh our own outlook on our topic, on our expertise, on our industry. So there's definitely something that can be gained by pulling in someone who is younger than you. Okay. Now, the flip side is also, on the older, and we'll get a little bit more into that, but think about this in terms of experiences, because sometimes we make the wrong assumption that because someone is younger than us in age, that they don't really have a lot to offer us via experience. And that is not true. There is so much value in spending peak time with people. This is that point that I always make, which is I'd rather spend an hour, getting to know five people really well than, exchanging business cards or phone numbers or emails with 50 people. Because when you get to know those five people in greater depth, you learn more about them. You learn more about their experiences. And there are a number of people in my professional circle and my professional network that they are there because I have sat down and I've had that conversation with them. And I know the story that's behind their work. I know what they bring to the table at a whole other level. And so on the surface, someone might say, why in the world is Patricia connected to that person? But trust you me, there is a reason or a rationale for it, particularly the closer they are, because there is a background experience there. So do both up and down, both, younger and older, there are experiences that you don't want to underestimate the value of. Which gets us to my second point about adding youth and wisdom to your network. And that is, it is really important that you are not short sighted and that you don't ignore the opportunities to learn from those who are younger than you. Okay, I started hinting at that. But here I wrote the little note that mentees can mentor too. And this is true. People always presume that the mentor is the person who's older in age, has more experience. But what you don't realize is that when you open your eyes and your ears to what someone younger than you has to offer, you can actually learn something from them. And so that relationship can be mutually beneficial at a whole other level. It's not just because someone, is like, hey, I'm going to offer my wisdom to you, right? It's way beyond that. Not just because they're going to quote offer their wisdom, but the younger person can offer their insight and give you some experience and some knowledge that perhaps that wasn't available to you simply because you're locked in at this other level and you haven't opened up to expand. So this is a reason why I continue to make sure that I personally serve as a mentor to those who are younger than myself, that I, continue to seek out speaking opportunities there and even coaching a young person occasionally here and there, because there's something that I learned from that process. There's something that I learned from that experience every time. And that can be so valuable. And so not only are they hopefully learning from me, but I'm learning from them as well. So I want you to give that some thought. The third point that I really want to drive home here is not to disrespect the wisdom of those with greater experience. Those who may be older, who, people say, oh, well, they don't really know, they're out of touch with the times or whatever. That is the wrong move to make, because there are lessons professionally, personally, emotionally, spiritually that we can all learn from someone who is older than us in both age and experience, that you can't learn in a book. Like, you can't learn that in a book. You can only learn that by actually engaging with them. And there are lessons that are timeless. So it doesn't matter if it's something that happened to someone 20 years ago. It's not the per se the actual situation itself, but it's the lessons learned from it that provide the greatest insight and the greatest value. Okay. And here's the thing, you have to make sure that you're willing to be vulnerable and even asking for that help and that input. This is something that people still have a hard time doing. They still have a hard time doing because too often we're afraid that we're going to look weak, we're going to look uninformed, we're going to look stupid. All of those horrible negative mindset chatter things that go on in our head and keep us from getting the help that we need by simply asking for it, by simply asking for some additional input, by asking for some advice. Because the truth is, no one knows everything. We have to be willing to open up and share with others. And by sharing, it's not just giving information to someone, but by being willing to receive insights and information from someone. And that includes sitting down to listen to those who are older than us or have more experience than us, that will be able to learn from. The older I get, the more I realize is like, oh wow, this is just so powerful. And especially right now, I mean, I know in recent weeks I've had several conversations with some folks, both men and women, who are older than me, some by a few years, others by many years. And what is so insightful to me as I'm thinking about two people in particular is that they both mentioned that, there's still so much for me to learn, or there's still something out there for me to learn and to be open to. And so I'm just trying to put myself in the right position to be able to receive what that is. Can you imagine how powerful that is? I'm in my early 50s and if I'm hearing this from someone who's in their 60s and beyond and saying that there's still opportunity for them to learn, oh my gosh, how powerful is that? That is a fantastic lesson in and of itself. We are never too old to learn, to grow. Okay. And if we're really trying to expand ourselves, to expand our opportunities, to expand our growth, then we do have to be willing to learn. And we have to be willing to learn from people that we might not expect it from, or from people who we don't normally interact with. Those are some of the best experiences, honestly. Myself, when I learned something from someone I wasn't even expecting to hear it from, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. On a slightly tangential note, but it's relevant from learning something from someone who you don't even know. And, I was on a service call this weekend. I was having issues with my email and I was trying to get it fixed. And the gentleman on the other side, it was taking quite some time and I didn't know, but at some point I just knew, I'm like, something else is going on here. And I was just going to sit and wait. And I learned after the fact that he was actually advocating on my behalf on something I hadn't even asked for, and that provided this great benefit to me. And he's just like, because I could tell, like he was a person of faith, he was a believer, and he's just like, I just hope you have a fantastic and blessed day, and know that this thing that just happened is not something that happens very often, but it's something that I felt strongly about and decided to go advocate for you on your behalf. Who, who does that, right? Where did that come from? These are the things that happen though when you leave yourself open. And so if who you don't know will do that, what is the power behind someone who does know you, someone who you are spending time with, what is the power that's there, that's open and available to you to share, to grow, and to learn, and to see these new opportunities or old ones that are refreshed that you didn't even see coming, right? Simply because you are willing to expand your view, to take off the blinders, and to look both up and down your networking sphere and around, right? In order to see where you are missing out potentially on opportunities to grow from those who are both older and younger than you in age, but also in experience. Okay. So I just want to toss that out there. That's the thought for today. And I would love to hear from you to see how that registers. And also to invite you, if you haven't already, to join me for the Harvest Time Career Challenge or Harvest Time Challenge this week. I'm super excited about. It's going on inside the Authentic Networking and Connections group. And so if you need an invite to that, it is hosted on Facebook, or if you're not on Facebook, then an email version can be sent to you. However, you'll get a lot out of it, hopefully, if you're within the group setting. As those things are going on all throughout the day, you're getting those posts and you're getting that engagement that hopefully you can get some new insights on for as you plan out the remainder of this year and look forward to next year by taking a look back at all of those people and opportunities that you have come in contact with and figuring out where you missed out and where there are opportunities to leverage something anew. Okay, that is it. Thank you so much. I look forward to following up with you again soon. Take care, and I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.